Well, how's it going, guys? So, I am here with another video on Half-Life Alyx, and now this is a really touchy subject with a lot of people, and I realized that this was one when I put out a video with my reaction to the rumors when it had already been discussed with Jeff Keighley of the Video Game Awards fame that there was going to be a new Half-Life game, and it wasn't going to be Half-Life 3. It was going to be a prequel game, and the Quartering was like the first person to break this story on YouTube, and everyone downvoted his video. Everyone downvoted my video as well, saying things like VR is the future. You don't know what you're talking about. This game is going to be great. Pretty much all the standard stuff. There was nothing really new being discussed in any of these topics, and I got into the comments like I always do, and I had conversations, and some people had some stuff to say, arguments about how Valve has like shaped the industry and they've used Half-Life as a way of showing off new technology, and some of that stuff is like really iffy because up to this point we've had flat, people are calling this like flat gaming now, like it almost sounds like a negative way of talking about traditional games that you would normally play on a regular computer monitor or on a TV. So now all of a sudden it's bad. We got to look away from that technology. That's old news. It's all about VR now. And I guess it might be a mixture of people probably saying this because they bought an expensive VR headset, or maybe they bought one of the low-end models and they want to justify their purchase. And of course, a new Half-Life game is definitely a way of justifying that purchase. There hasn't been any new Half-Life anything at all. No new games, no new side games. So, this game is now official. It's going to be released in March of 2020. And so, I was actually, like I said, really surprised at the response. But then I came over onto the Steam boards where I am right now, what you're seeing on your screen at the moment. And I've actually looked through some of these topics. And this is a pretty hot thread right here. This is on the official, you see, it's steamcommunity.com. And this is the topic that I looked through before making this video. Why Only VR by Red Pill Gamer. There's 1,903 comments. So you can see, obviously, this is a pretty heated discussion. And it was posted on November 21st, 6 days ago, and we're already off to the races. So I figured, you know what? Let me, now that I've given my opinion, let's go on the main message board, because I've looked on Game FAQs, barely anyone is talking about this game. And the people that are on there are mostly being negative about it. So that's pretty telling. But let's take a look at what people have to say on Steam, where the game is going to be released, but you're going to need VR equipment in order to play it. So let's check it out. Let's see. And you notice something right here? What's the first thing that you see when you open this up? And I didn't even see this the first time. Maybe I didn't even notice it. But Red Pill Gamer has been banned. Oh, and why has he been banned? I wonder why. Why only VR? Seriously, Valve? Half-Life fans have been waiting for over 10 years for another Half-Life game. Not cool. I get you want to push this VR crap, but don't make it VR exclusive. This is, pretty much the same exact thing that I said. And this was actually posted after I made that first video. And then you've got someone else on here, I think they deleted the comment. Grove, because Crimea River, get a job and buy VR HMD. WTF, I'm not paying $2,000 to play a VR game. GTFO. And you're gonna see this a lot, so strap yourselves in. You know, right away. Oh, so this guy commented. I don't know if he got deleted off of here. So one guy got banned, another one gets deleted, but whatever the case may be. Already, oh, you know, buy a job. Like, you know, is it possible to have a job and not like a game or not like the concept of a game? Yeah, it's really funny because people were like, you know, hating on Pokemon Sword and Shield. I know this is a much different game, but I'm just using an example. And here, there was mostly, like, negative. It was a very vocal minority, or whoever it was. The game still ended up selling 6 million copies in the opening weekend of the release. It was very successful, but that was very negative. Anyone who tried saying anything positive about the game, they shot them down, calling them, you know, mindless drones. They were zombies. They were brainwashed. You name it. Here, if someone wants to say something negative about this game, you're poor. So let's read on. So, Attacking Hobo. This game could only be made with VR. It could be translated into 2D as well, but then both the VR and 2D will both be compromises. I want no compromises. Awesome VR. Maybe because the whole game was built for VR from the ground up and only plays with VR controllers. Sucks for you, but I'll be having a blast playing this. And I don't know why people are so sure that they're going to have a blast playing this. You know, they've been out of practice for a very long time, Valve. The only reason they're making this game, and I cannot stress this enough, and I kept saying in the comments, and maybe I didn't really mention enough in my video, they don't need to do any Half-Life. They've been doing just fine with just teasing Half-Life for over 10 years, like this guy said. 15, 16 years, whatever it was. They have all the money they could want off of Steam, whatever sales they've made off of their VR gadgets. You know, so the only reason they're doing this is because they need a killer app for the thing. Because it's lacking like a great game. There's been a few things, Skyrim, but nothing's really caught on. As much as people say, oh, it's awesome, it's awesome. And we're going to get to that in a minute about people saying that it's awesome. So Red Pill Gamer, the one got banned, he's, you know, he comments on Attacking Hobo. That's a lie. Now, I could definitely see how it may be hard to integrate you know, a traditional gameplay style when they're already doing it as a VR game. So I wouldn't necessarily say that that's a lie. Then we've got Saint Mattis of Quantico. So we see there was a comment here that the Mad Dog made about the controllers from the ground up. Says, same here, glad I bought my Valve Index, and that's the name of the VR set. You can get a new VR headset for $399. Attacking Hobo wrote, you can find used ones much cheaper. What is this $2,000 number coming from? Never mind that you're probably, you know, you gotta, if you don't already have a fully upgraded PC, say you've like really not kept up with PC games, but you're a Half-Life fan. You know, you were waiting for a big AAA title like this to come your way. You might be behind a little bit on your system, and you might need to upgrade with a few things to get the optimal experience. So now you're telling me that you gotta get a VR headset. I mean, this is a little bit ridiculous, to say the least. I mean, you know, you're going to have to get all this stuff in order to play the game. And I really feel like a lot of people are missing out on that point. Like, oh, they're like, yeah, $400 for VR. And I've heard that there's even cheaper ones, but like, do they not realize that the prerequisites for playing this game are pretty astounding. They're pretty outrageous, and people are kind of just like, oh no, it's not that bad. Like, anything to try to like justify this, I've never really seen people be so defensive about it. It's kind of suspicious in a way. Anyway, so attacking Hobo once again, you know, coming about, you know, like this. It's not that expensive. You know, it's not, you know, this and it's not that. Like, you know, like, come on. It's an expensive gimmick, and I know that bothers a lot of people. Why is gimmick a dirty word? Sometimes gimmicks catch on, like the Wii. Okay, maybe not like with the Kinect, but you get what I mean. It is something, it's a marketing ploy. It's something that's going to draw people in. So it is a gimmick, whether you like to admit it or not, and you feel it is the future. And then you've got Avil saying, where is K plus M? Totally sucked, VR is dead. And SMX87 says, sucks to be you. Grove commenting, you know, WTF, I'm not paying $2,000 to play a VR game, GTFO. And, you know, Red Pill Gamer has a really good point. This, me and him pretty much agree. So Grove says, good, used HDMs cost like $200 right now. I mean, you know, it's not the point. You're missing the point about the PC. Not everyone has an upgraded PC. That used to be enough. Now you have to worry about, now that we're headed into this VR age. And you gotta believe that a lot of other game developers are gonna get the same idea. Oh, yeah, VR exclusive. You know, this is how it's gonna go. Then Wally B comments, Andy, who actually deleted his comment, or I believe someone probably deleted, it's all about money. You know, you could definitely see on a Steam message board why a message like this doesn't exist anymore. So Wally B then replies, non-VR would 100% make more money. They are VR hardware developers. Obviously, they want to make games for it. And you've got Red Pill Gamer once again says, guess I'll have to enjoy the cutscenes on YouTube, which will probably be me as well. Big backstab on Valve's part. They should have made it accessible to non-VR gamers. And Red Pill Gamer is on fire here. He's, you know, he's not going overboard here. He's making a lot of sense. You know, it truly is. Like, this is the way how I feel as a fan of Valve, as a fan of Half-Life. I feel betrayed. And a lot of people seem like they disagree. So Attacking Hobo then again says, I do VR development. Well, okay, how convenient. I've made games that could only be played with controllers. Trying to map those interactions to keyboard and mouse is either impossible or takes an insane amount of work for a compromise that isn't fun to play. Like, you know, it would be sad if this guy had to make that up just to make a point. But it's very unusual that, you know, just a VR development guy just happens to be sitting here in a message board. A busy guy like that. You know, because that's a way of shutting down an argument. Well, I am a VR developer. It's impossible. You know, okay. I would really love to get some real professionals in on this so we could really square that away. And I'm not worried about it. I think that they shouldn't have done VR. You get back after 15 years. It's okay if they gave us Half-Life 3 or they even gave us Half-Life Alyx. It might have not been the game we want, but it's a game that I would enjoy probably. Never mind the fact that you don't get to play as Gordon Freeman, but it's something in the Half-Life universe. It's recognizable characters and faces that, you know, we've grown with as gamers, and we want to be a part of this universe. It would have been fine if the first game back after this long hiatus didn't have to be some drastically different, you know, gimmick exclusive game. I don't understand what so many people have a hard time figuring that out, and they're fighting tooth and nail trying to justify that this game needs to be VR pretty much. Andy says it's all about money. I'm pissed too. I think it's because everyone was posting so frantically in here. You see that it's like everything is like 1 minute apart. That's why. So the comment then wasn't deleted. So Andy is basically on my side. So then you've got Attacking Hobo, who said that, it's the, the price. What's the VR? What's the $2,000 number coming from? Powerful PC to run VR headset, etc. Red Pill Gamer says. Stefano Namimo, because they want to squeeze the money cows that will buy a VR headset just for playing this game. So a lot of people are on board for, what I was trying to say in those 2 videos. And then Grove says in response to Powerful PC, $500 max. You could get cheap 1660 GeForce and i5 CPU. That seems a bit slow, actually, for that type of game, to be quite honest. I'm just saying. And where are you getting the $500 from? That is like extremely, extremely low. I would love to see it, unless you know how to build a PC or something like that from parts. So Red Pill Gamer says, he's not paying. So Capo Phantasma 97 says, actually the full Valve Index kit is $1,000, and to play the game it surely takes much less than that. You can get an Oculus or Vive visor and controls for $500-$600. If the game is good as it promises, it will boom the VR market and make it a more accessible and popular tech in the future. People, see, that's the thing. People have already bought this. These people commenting it already own it. So they are going to justify their purchase. And you see what they're saying here? $500-$600. It's not a little bit of money. It's quite significant. Do people understand that? That, that's what a lot of people make in a week. So it to say that is, just chump change is outrageous. There's no way that you could actually just sit there and say, oh no, $500-$600, nah, fine, it's good. I mean, that's ridiculous. They're getting to the point now where they're sounding like morons. Seriously. I hate to just use those words and start attacking people's intelligence, but this is a very ignorant statement, to say the least. Then you've got Bastisas, or what are these names that people come up with? So in response to Red Pill Gamer, he writes, you can get a brand new WMR for $130 and a GTX 1060 for $150. I don't know where people are getting these prices from. They're not even posting where they're getting them from. This is extremely cheap. Valentine, yeah, it sucks. I don't care about VR. I just want to play the game with mouse and keyboard. Bad Karma 048 says, I have VR and it's pretty much, you know what this is right now. Tech hasn't come far enough for it to be a truly enjoyable gaming experience. This was a bad move on Valve's part. They would have sold way more copies of the game if it was not VR exclusive. So here is a VR owner, or, to be fair, maybe he's saying that he is just so he won't get shut down by other people. But this is, I guarantee you there is a lot of people, maybe they're a quiet majority, but I am telling you, I strongly, and mark my words, when it comes out, remember this part of the video where I say this. I think that the game is not going to meet the standards that they set for it. I don't think that it's going to meet the sales that they're going to predict for it. Then you've got Red Pill Gamer saying it's effing Valve. I doubt they would have struggled to make a separate version that's playable without VR. And that's another good point from Red Pill Gamer. You have to believe that with a team and all the money, this is going to be chump change. You want to talk about chump change? You want to talk about things not costing a lot? whatever the budget is for Alyx, it's going to be chump change for Valve. They own Steam. For God's sakes, you have to believe that they're not... It wouldn't be problematic for them to, you know, tweak a game. They have huge, massive teams where that would be a joke. But of course, let's conveniently overlook that. I didn't even really think about that. Like, here I am on Steam reading this, so I'm not even thinking like, yeah, it would be pretty easy for them to make 2 versions of the game. But they're not going to do that because that's not their intent. They're more concerned about making a game to sell a gimmick than they are for making a cool game that their fans are going to actually enjoy. Grove writes, just because you don't have money to get HMD doesn't mean it's dead. You probably have no idea what VR is. Like, not knowing what VR is, like, I'm pretty sure almost everyone knows what VR is. Like, again, it can't just be that people do not like VR. They don't enjoy VR. Many people get motion sickness from VR. You know, and I'm fighting with people, like, in the... Like, oh, I'm not fighting, but I'm trying to have a decent conversation with people in the comments, and they're, like, trying to say, like, oh, you get motion sickness? Oh, you could easily get over that. Like, no, you can't. Just every single thing, like, no, VR is good. Trust me, VR is good. It's good. Like, just total zombies. And you're going to see what I'm talking about in here. So, to Red Pill Gamer, everyone's jumping all over this guy because he's just making way too much sense. So, Bacon Overlord, cool name, writes, in case you didn't notice, VR headsets are very affordable now and are the future of PC gaming. Pancake gaming is just boring now. Oh, yeah, so just, you know, screw, like, these games right here. Like... You know, like, oh, forget about this one and you know, this one and, you know, all these games right here, they're completely worthless. Forget about all these games because they're, you know, oh, this is so boring. Oh my god, it's so boring. I'd rather play an unperfected technology. It's just, you know, what's wrong with people? Why do they feel like they have to be extremists when it comes to something? You know, it's like they can't see the perspective that people rather just play this game, you know, in the normal sense. I mean, honestly, it's very affordable. Like, people don't want to spend extra stuff. It's not even a console. It's, you know, it's an extra peripheral. And that's a thing. You got to understand that peripherals are always gimmicks. Well, have they not been? We talked about the Kinect. We've talked, and it's not like Steam hasn't had gimmicks itself. The Steam box. Oh, how about we make, you know, our streamable services into our downloadable services into a streaming box where you could actually play the games on the box. I mean, like, you know, like a console to try to compete with the console market. Failure. Epic failure. Did not work. SMX87 then writes, of course, in response to Red Pill Gamer, VR is its own platform. They don't have to do anything for non-VR gamers. Either buy a headset or GTFO of the VR community. No one wants all these non-VR gamers here effing like little children. It's a VR game, not a desktop game, and I pray to the gods it will never get a desktop version. Like, how completely lame do you have to be? Like, these people are not, like, even listening to what's being written to them. They're just like, oh, we just, like, want to ruin your day. Take away the hope that it will ever be a desktop version. Like, you're already getting the VR version. And, like, the non-VR gamers, like, there's, like, this segregation here. Like, first of all, you all look like goofs with the VR thing. That's never going to be cool. That is some, like, lame thing that even the... you look like the Burger King kid. There was a, you know, there was a character, if anyone remembers 90s Burger King, Vid Kid, who wore, like, these glasses. Just totally, like, outrageous stuff. And that's exactly what you look like. Grove then writes, kind of true, but who cares? And we're opposed to bad karma. Yeah, about it not being VR exclusive. Like, I totally agree. If this game was just a standard Half-Life, they would have sold like gangbusters. But of course not. They gotta make it gimmicky. That's the only reason they're doing it. I can't stress that enough. And then in response to like what I said here about the WMR and the GTX, saying and the rest of the PC, like that's what I'm saying. He's talking about a part. Like, what about exactly? Like, where are they getting these numbers? Every looks, oh, well, if you buy this for this price and that for this price, like, did these people not understand how ridiculous they sound? Just look at all this stuff that's been written so far. A Siberian bean soup, another interesting name. Valve develops 3 full-fledged VR titles to push VR. This is one of them. Deal with it. No, we're sorry, we're not going to deal with it. Then, Bacon Overlord, also for the VR is dead crowd. It's probably some statistics, something like that. I'm not saying that it doesn't sell well. I'm just saying that there's been a number of times where gimmicks have sold well, but then it's a fad. Like, everyone always pretends like fads are not a thing. They're like, oh yeah, this is going to be cool forever. Like, no, it's not. Everything dies with time. If you, like, I don't know, unless you're like 14 years old, I don't think you're going to realize that, like, none of these things are constant. There's never been anything successful that's been an alternative to playing games on a PC monitor or a TV. It's been quite constant, to say the least. So in response to Red Pill Gamer, Soul Lifer writes, no, they should not. VR games are good because they are VR. Oh my god, what a statement there. Yet VR games are good because they're VR? Wow. Take out the VR part and a lot of them would really suck. Either buy a VR headset or quit complaining because you can't afford one. Once again, it's like, you're not allowed to not be interested in VR because it's just not your thing, and it's just a gimmick. And look at this statement, just like really break down what he's saying. The VR games are good because they're VR. So I get what he's trying to say, because like they're good because of the VR gameplay style. But then that tells you that it is a gimmick. That's like same thing with the Wii, right? There was a lot of games like Wii Sports. People would have not played Wii Sports if it didn't have the motion controls, because then it would have just been a plain, simple, boring, really archaic, like outdated sports game. So, but put the motion controls in there, and then it became something completely different and fresh. Then Red Pill Gamer then says, Valve hasn't even said if it will be exclusive to their own VR kit, which if it is, then yeah, it'll be almost $2,000 at least. It's going to be expensive. No matter how you spin this, it is not going to be a cheap game to play. You're going to go like into the red basically. If you try to play this game and you don't have all the updated stuff already. So let's move on here. Grove then says, TLDR, Half-Life, Alyx is close to Artica. One VR game, that's it. Nothing new, but it looks probably... I have no idea what he's saying. Now's then says, this is literally the Half-Life cycle, I swear. When Half-Life 1 came out, people were yelling they had to buy a GPU to play a game. What the F, Valve? When Half-Life 2 came out, people were yelling that they had to upgrade to play it. What the hell, Valve? Now we have Half-Life out and people need to buy a VR headset. Okay, do you realize... Okay, let me just finish up here. So Half-Life is their technology pushing series. This is the new tech. This looks incredible, and knowing Valve, it's going to be polished in a way no other VR game has been, which is the problem. They are hedging their bets on VR taking off and becoming mainstream, and this is their push for it. You can buy a VR headset that be able to play this game just fine for $150. We aren't in the wild lands of $500 plus only anymore. It's basically just upgrading your RAM or whatever to play the new hotness. Okay, I think Valve fully realizes that it's a gimmick. They're not like idiots or like sucked into some type of fad or gimmick as easily as everyone else. They've been around the block. They've been around now for, I don't know, close to 25, 30 years, something like that, whatever the case may be. They're experienced. They know what they're doing. And the difference is here is it doesn't matter. But the fact that you have to buy an expensive peripheral plus upgrade your PC. See, the difference is here is you just had to upgrade your PC for these games. So if you were already upgraded, that's not the problem. Now you have to upgrade and buy the thing. And still $150. Again, you know, that's half the price of a console. That is the cost of several game controllers. That's the cost of several games. So not everyone is thrilled about that. Supersonic 2233 writes, VR is the reason I'm mega hyped for this. A Serbian bean soup then says, when the entire game is centered around VR, you don't just go and do all the work for a separate version featuring none of the things shown in the trailer. You have no idea how much work would go into making every single VR function work like a normal game. Their complete focus is VR. 2 other VR games are coming to deal with it. They want to push technology like they did with physics of Half-Life 2 in Steam. Yeah, but the physics were like in the game. So, you know, each, not just with Valve or games made by Valve, but a lot of video games push new things, new technologies. They try new things. They don't try to, like, you know, trap their gamers into and their fans into buying different peripherals to make the game work. So there's the difference right there. But people are just like, you notice there's a constant theme here. Deal with it. It's the future. It's what VR is all about. Screw flat gaming. It's like very obnoxious. And I don't think that people really understand what they're doing. But then again, they probably do. Then you've got Amazing saying VR only. GTF out of here, Valve. I think that's the title of the topic. Are you serious? We Half-Life fans have waited 12 years for something Half-Life related, and now you give us something new and force us to get a VR headset to even experience it. So what about the millions of fans who can't afford it or don't want to use VR? What about people who get motion sick real bad when they use VR? I guess screw us, right? This is exactly what I'm saying. Great post by this guy. Red Pill Gamer then says, comparing upgrading PC parts to buying an expensive accessory to play the game. This guy. Exactly. Ember. The future is now. You could get a Rift for $300. That's less than a mid-range GPU. Quit whining. It's like no one seems to get the point that they don't want it to be VR. It doesn't matter if it's affordable. What if you just don't want it? What if you don't like the fact that the game is VR? Forget about if it's an affordable. Maybe you don't want to put on your head. Maybe you do get motion sickness. Maybe you don't like it. Maybe it's annoying having something on your head. That's why I don't like 3D movies. I go out of my way. I went out of my way to see basically all the Star Wars movies, all the movies that came out, the Jurassic Park movies, all these big budget films. I went out of my way to see those films not in 3D because I don't like it. I don't like wearing it on my head. It's annoying. And that's the same thing with VR. I don't like these gimmicks. It is a technology, an old technology they're trying to bring back and finally make it work, and it's just not appealing. Sorry. Vaxen then writes, I believe that if this game does well, we could get that long-awaited third game. We shouldn't have to wait. This should have been the game, and it should have been in the traditional format, not make it into some polarizing, doofy VR game that's just there as a gimmick to try to sell it. And then Pathogen then says, what if already have a job and also 3D projector and well-seasoned and tuned controls set up and have no need for some headset junk? Well, exactly. Like, maybe we don't want it. That's what I'm saying. I don't want to wear a headset when I play the game. Then you have Karudo. The Oculus Rift S cost $400. My 17-year-old step-cousin earned $1,000 in a month of hard work to build his first gaming PC while he paid his bills. Stop one. So now it's comparing the guy to a child, trying to make him feel bad. Yeah, quit whining. Even my little kid cousin, he built this and he managed it. Like, what? Like, come on. People just don't seem to understand that they don't want to spend their hard-earned money on gimmicks and extra stuff. We already are like up to our elbows in microtransactions and DLC and online only, and now you're going to make VR only. I mean, the gaming industry just doesn't know when to stop. And it doesn't surprise me that Valve is taking this, sudden turn, onto the greedy turnpike, we'll say. Francis Picard then writes, Half-Life game will always be a kind of tech demo of future tech. It always be like that since Half-Life 1. I am sure they never intend to sell many copies because they already have other sources of income. So if you don't have VR, then this game is not for you. Move on to other games instead. So yeah, just basically just same thing Valve is saying. Screw you. You don't like it, don't buy it. It's going to be Battlefield, I'm telling you. The voices are going to grow as we get close to the March, I'm telling you. And you've got, it's a Half-Life 1 and 2 and episodes 1 and 2 were not tech demos. They were games that played like real games. But let's forget about the episodes because they were short games. But 1 and 2 were not tech demos. Those were fully fledged games that didn't have gimmicks. They had full arsenals of weapons. They had full-fledged stories. They didn't exist to sell a peripheral. They existed to sell themselves as games. And it's not, and I see what people are trying to do. Oh, this is the way that Half-Life has always been. This is their interpretation. This is their cockeyed, demented way of trying to twist it, like, because we see it all the time out there in social media and on YouTube, trying to twist the past, trying to change the past, try to rewrite history and make it something that it wasn't. It was never about being a tech demo. It was just about being a good FPS. That's all it was, with an interesting story and interesting characters. Then you have Bacon Overlord here saying, if you have to spend $2,000 to buy a $400 VR system, then something is wrong. Probably your potato system that you should have upgraded 5 years ago anyway. So, now you have to have an upgraded PC at all times. So, buy the extra thing. We're all for this. This is the most ridiculous hype train I've ever seen in my life. Then you have Rastelli saying, I have a better idea. You and your 3 friends play this and the rest of us just watch it on YouTube. Which I think is a lot of people are going to do this. They're just going to wait for people to stream it. A lot of people have been saying that, by the way. That they're going to watch other people play it. Because they just, they don't want to do the VR thing. They just don't. Runs with Guns then says, exaggerate much. Oculus Rift S, which is more than capable HMD, is only $399 and will be discounted during Black Friday for $350. It's like a group of zombies. Where it's like, hello, McFly, do you realize that people are saying it doesn't even matter anymore how much it costs? It's more about the fact that people don't want it to be VR. Because even if it is a matter of you not wanting to play the game, if like as VR, then you have the price point, or it could be both. Maybe it's a little bit of both. Maybe you would go for it, but you just don't feel like buying something that you're really not into. Then you have Wally B saying they literally list all the headsets on the store page. So, like, it doesn't matter. Once again, it doesn't matter. Like, you don't, these people just don't get it. Aaron Frank.tar.gs writes, Half-Life games are traditionally used as tech demos. It's a lie already. Why are people saying this? Half-Life 2. Did that feel like a tech demo? Something like a 20-30 hour game, did that feel like a tech demo? Having this be non-VR would completely defeat the point. It would be so horrible for it to be a traditional game, right, that everyone could enjoy. The people who are into VR, so you'll never play flat gaming again. So you're just completely giving up on flat games. It's all about VR. Forget about the limited game library and the fact that, you know, game developers are not even fully committed. Most of the game developers on the planet have not committed to VR, haven't even developed a VR game, but all of a sudden it is your favorite. Forget about all your favorites on PC, the hundreds and thousands of great games that have been released over the years, over the past 30, 35 years for PC. You know, forget about all that stuff. Forget about it, because it's all about VR and the 3 or 4 years it's existed. That's all that matters. Then you've got HM Matt _in_the_ hat. You can get VR for $200, dude. Quit crying. Like, once again, you know, you know, just buy it. You know, screw your money. Just, you know, give in. SAS, but got all hyped up, and then VR. Well, we all knew it was VR ahead of time, but shock, man, this VR isn't working for me because of my eyes defect. Can't see movies in 3D too, and that's kind of similar to VR, so yeah, they should release a non-VR version. And you've got Grove saying, then why are you posting here? Because they want their voices to be heard. This is the one place to come to, right? The Valve message boards, you know, the Steam message boards, Valve will be able to see it. Bacon Overlord, you're telling kids to get a job and to buy a game when most of them are pathetic thieves and just pirate them. Good luck with that. You know, exactly. That's one point that you could put, you know, just get a job. Like, not realizing that most people do. It's like, it's possible, like I said, to have a job and not be happy with a game's release. GSF, yep, amazing. 1%ers, this is for rich people. I kind of feel the same way. This is how people are. They're acting really stuck up. Oh, I have VR. What, you don't, peasant? And then you've got Chauncey says, if you have a PC, you can get VR for as little as $150, and everyone can get over motion sickness. It might take a few minutes or days, but you can. Okay, you're a medical doctor? Stop! This is Half-Life, don't you know? You can easily get over motion sickness. Like, do you not realize that motion sickness extends far beyond that? It goes to roller coasters, car sickness, seasickness. It's motion sickness. It's not just has to do with stupid video games. Like, people are like ridiculous. I also had someone talking about this in the comments with me. No offense, but it's like, I'm sorry, you can't just tell people to get over some, you know, mental, like, nausea that they get from a situation just because, you know, oh, everyone should enjoy this game because, you know, I'm ready to enjoy it. They say this is the best thing they could have done. Yeah, it's the absolute best thing they could have done. Outside of releasing Half-Life 3 in the traditional format that everyone would have just been fine with. Mushy Mush puts, just get VR, crybaby. Yeah, just get VR. Shut up and get VR. You know, forget about having an opinion, a mind of your own. Just fall in line and get that VR. Grove then says, yeah, go back to 4chan. I swear all these fanboys sucking Valve's, you know. I think that got deleted, him saying that, by the way, because we didn't go and see that unless it's like down here somewhere. Says, you go back to Fortune discussing cruel gaming society and red-pilling gamers, haha. Beltorn writes, it's obviously the showcase VR tech and how different it is to the gaming we're used to. Valve prone to being experimental and going for the exclusive stuff. A third of their studio have been working on VR tech. Of course, they want to make a game out of it, and they are confident enough about it to return to freaking Half-Life universe. And like, no one just stops and thinks about this for a second when they're saying all this. They picked this time because they know that VR is going nowhere fast. They've probably sold all the VR units that they could possibly sell. The rest of the crowd of gamers think that it's BS and they're not interested in wearing some goofy thing on their head. So, for everyone else now, they're like, ooh, well, here's Half-Life. Oh, you guys have been waiting for this for 15 years, huh? Like, that's really cruel. And that is so polarizing to do that. It's a real scummy thing to do. But, like, they're saying, like, oh, they're doing this now because they had some divine plan all along. No. They did not care about Half-Life. They could care less about the fans. They're greedy. They're obsessed with running their business steam and making every last dollar possible to, you know, fill their fat pockets. And that's all they care about. They're a bunch of fat cats now. They don't care about what gamers really think of them because it's you know, it's totally irrelevant to them. Doesn't matter. You will be assimilated into the you know, into the Steam community whether you like it or not. So it's like, so we've already told you this is how gaming is going to be. It's all going to be digital now. It's going to all be our DRM and everything. So, you know, good luck with all that nonsense, and, you know, and just fall in line. And while you're at it, buy a VR headset, right? Just like, just buy it. That's all they're saying here. Rabid Urko is saying they have made a marketing mistake making it VR only. They will see that soon. I agree 100%. They will. Death Jester says, I don't own a VR set, but I'm not surprised that they decided to do this. I'm not either, really, to tell you the truth. The previous Half-Lives were all somehow ahead, I think he means of their time, playing with new things like physics in Half-Life 2, which was relatively new at that point. I'm just glad they finally made a Half-Life game. Well, like I said, yes, but they've never went this far. I think people are missing the point. This is a totally different format. Moving away from mouse and keyboard is a bigger departure than people are seemingly willing to admit. Crazy Shockman says, what about people who don't use VR because it isn't working for them? Eyes defect. I don't know what they're referring to. I don't know what this +1 means from Rabbit Urko. Let's move on here. Red Pill Gamer says, yeah, enjoy paying tons of money for one game. Ha, you sure showed me. That's what I'm saying. Then Grove says, nah, quit whining. Yeah, stop whining. You know, just silence yourselves as we bask in the glow of being completely brainwashed by Valve, doing what they want because a game has Half-Life in the name. Then Grove also says, one game. Have you been VR gaming, list boy? There's not a big library of games. People are even admitting that in the comments. Tuna writes, must suck being poor. LMAFO. Like, these are so stupid. Like, honestly, like, if they're on Steam, they obviously have money to buy games. So it's like, you know, or they don't want to. Is it that crazy? I know you think it's super awesome and it's the future of gaming, but is it so crazy that maybe someone doesn't want to buy VR? I mean, there's people that don't want to buy the Switch. There's people that don't want to buy the Xbox. There's people that don't want to buy the PS4 or 5 coming out. Does that make them poor? No, maybe they just don't want it, right? Why do people not buy an iPhone? Because they don't want it. Maybe they want the Android, right? I mean, there's so many different factors here. But of course, everyone has to judge one another. Surreal says, totally agree. Should not make it VR only. Mr. Mays says, I'm a kill you. What the hell does that even mean? Like, these people. Vlad Mods writes, Valve, when you want my money, publish something that is not solely play with VR. Good luck. Samal puts, because they need something to push their VR crap. See, now people are coming in and really saying this. LGDMF says, well, F you about the Crimea River thing. Bacon Overlord says, I started to ask myself why there are these discussions in every VR game forum. Then I realized these are the people that steal games. They are mad they can't just go steal this game and play it. They might have to actually spend money and get the hardware to support it. No wonder there's... Oh, now I see what he's saying. Because it's a VR game and you just simply can't just play it on your computer by like bootlegging it. That is like pushing it to a whole new level. Forget about the arguments you don't have money, you don't have VR. Now it's like, oh, you guys just want to steal the game and now you can't, and now Valve foiled your plans. Valve, you single-handedly stopped the pirating of games. I mean, like, are you kidding me here? Like, that is just taking it to a whole new extreme. Then Jonas says, because VR is the future of gaming, just like streaming services are the future of television. That is just a total, like, you know, a hot and cold right there. Totally just out there statement. Evil Reflex writes, oh, poor flat gamer. Oh my god, is that really going to be a term now? Oh, you play on TV, flat gamer? Rabbit Urko says, you will see soon that I am telling a fact. Some people can't read. It's available on all VR hardware using Steam VR. No one is saying that it's not for the 1000th time. People just don't like it. Then we've got True. Can't wait to see the flop sales numbers for this. They could have had another huge seller like Half-Life 1 and 2. Missed the mark with this one. Red Pill Gamer. But it's not about that. Once again, we know that it's not about them selling a game. They want to sell a piece of equipment. The Fresh Revenge Haven. If people have eye defects, then watching it on their TV isn't going to help them that much either. This guy just totally missed the point right here. Like, he doesn't understand the technology of how it is. He doesn't even know what he's playing. Red Pill Gamer says, don't worry, they are rich fanboys. They don't care about the truth. Rabbit Oracle says, far from it. You are deluded. Exactly. I'm happy he said that, because this guy is total, like, conspiracy theory. You people, you just want to steal games. That's why you're against the VR. Then you've got, Saku says, idiot. I guess he's talking about the topic poster. Big and Overlord then says, right, because VR games flop. Ha, could you be any more uninformed? I'm not going to do it right now, but I would love to see the VR games numbers, because somehow, some way, why is it that, like, the VR stuff is always discounted and everything? They don't take into account that they're trying to push that stuff hardcore, that, you know, people enjoy, especially, like, you know, kids and stuff like that who are going to play FPSs anyway, despite the violence. They're not going to, you know, be so inclined to the VR, I don't think. I think most people prefer traditional. No, I know for a fact that they do. And you've got Spanish Inquisition writing, imagine, I don't know what this word is in the hearts here, yourself, cause mommy won't spend at least $450 on virtual reality. Once again, it comes back to the money thing. Bacon Overlord, thanks for proving my point. Red Pill Gamer, have you seen how many games I own? I don't steal anything. I buy all my games, bro. Exactly. Like, who is this guy? Who is this guy, Bacon Overlord, to, like, just talk to people he doesn't know, accusing them of a felony. Because that's what he's doing. He's accusing them of a felony, basically. That he's accusing them of stealing games. Mambius4 writes $150. Who's did need to suck to get a VR headset for only that money? Besides, I have an HTC Vive Pro, and I am still kind of disappointed that it's VR only. So another person that has VR that's not really into it, and people are like coming up with these crazy numbers just like they always do. Oh, I got it for this price. Oh, I got it for that price. Okay, yeah, maybe on an eBay sale or something like that, probably used. They're not really giving a lot of details as to how they've obtained this item for such a low amount of money. Maybe they stole it. JJ, watch the trailer again until you realize those hand actions are in cutscenes, and take your toxicity back to Steam reviews where it belongs. Oh boy, here we go. Shadow Gaming 10, deal with it. Red Pill Gamer, I'm talking about the story, dum-dum. Bacon Overlord then says, unlikely. Very, very unlikely. I bet if we did a search on your account, most of your games come from game keys you stole from. Like, where are they getting this information from? JJ, watch the trailer again till you realize those. Okay, we already read that. Something, because people are posting so quickly. Like, you've got 2 posts here, like, back to back. Red Pill Gamer says, LL, sure thing, brah. You know, we could keep going with this, but, like, you know, we need to basically stop at some point here. So this is, like, as good as point as any. I just wanted to show you guys that, like, this is what people are doing on the internet right now. They're making people feel bad about a game just because they don't like how it was released. And what I'm trying to say is people were you know, they've been tearing games apart for a long time just because they don't like something about it or they disagree about a developmental choice. Now we have a big glaring faux pas, and it seems like very few people are willing to touch it, and when they do, people are trying to silence them. And I don't know what happened at the end of the thread of why Red Pill Gamer ended up getting banned, but I guarantee you he probably made too much sense. Maybe he said something off color, but everyone was basically acting like a big bully. Oh, what? You don't have the money? I mean, like, come on already. When do we just say, like, enough is enough? They just don't like the game and how it was presented. It was presented in a very poor way, where it was just like, oh, you know, Half-Life has gone missing for 15 years. You've been waiting a long time. The only Half-Life game we've been talking about is Half-Life 3. And now all of a sudden they give you Half-Life. It's not Half-Life 3. Okay, well, it's Alyx. Oh, but it's VR. So it was just, it's one big, nasty, deformed, gross onion that had all these different negative layers to it. And that is why I and many others seem to be having a big problem with this. So enough with the bullying already. Enough with, oh, what, you don't have money? You know, or, oh, what, you know, you don't have VR? Like, it's not that. It's all these different lies and stories that people are trying to tell, trying to justify that Valve put this as a VR only exclusive, trying to justify that the game is VR, that VR is successful, that VR is the wave of the future. That is all that people basically kept saying. They're just like, you know, they want to live in this world where VR is just excellent. It's already been perfected. And coming up with lies, saying that the previous Half-Life games, they're not even trying to fight the fact that this game is a tech demo. They are basically saying that the past 2 games were tech demos. Not realizing that the tech demo is pretty much a negative term. It is something that is shown to show off the hardware and not much else. Usually doesn't have a lot of substance to it. Now, okay, in some circumstances, they could be, you know, good demos, good tech demos. It's not that, it's just like a demonstration of the hardware. But here they're basically saying like, yeah, it's a tech demo and we're proud of that. We're happy for Valve. We're proud of Valve for just giving us a lousy tech demo after all these years. I never thought that I didn't know that the Half-Life fan base had so many cringy people in it. But now, I now realize that. So there you go, guys. I hope you all enjoyed the video. A bit long, but I thought we'd have some fun here. And thank you all for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Click the bell so you get all notifications when I post all my new videos. And guys, I'll see you next time.